If you've recently received an inheritance, or you know one is coming, this video is for you. Because one of the most common financial mistakes we see is people making major decisions with inherited money too quickly. And it's not because they're careless, it's because an inheritance arrives at one of the most emotionally difficult times in a person's life. You're grieving, you're overwhelmed, and suddenly there's a significant amount of money sitting in your account, and everyone seems to have an opinion about what you ought to do with it. Today, April and I want to walk you through how to think about an inheritance, what to do first, what to avoid, and why slowing down is almost always the right move.
Here's the important thing we can tell you about receiving an inheritance. Give yourself a few months before making any major decisions, say 3 to 6 months or more. Park the money somewhere safe. Have a conversation with your financial professional on where to do so, and then give yourself time to grieve. But here's what happens when people skip this step. They make permanent financial decisions from a temporary emotional state. They buy things they wouldn't otherwise buy. They give money away they later wish they had. They invest in something because it feels productive. It may feel like they're honoring the person they lost. The money will still be there when you take that pause. The markets will still be there. The opportunities will still be there. However, the decisions you make in the first weeks after a loss are almost never your best decisions. You're human. And with inherited money, those decisions can be very hard to undo.
You've given yourself that breathing room. The next step is understanding what you actually inherited, because not everything is the same. Inheriting a brokerage account is different from inheriting an IRA. Inheriting a house is different from inheriting cash, and the tax implications of each are very, very different. Let's start with one of the most important concepts, stepped-up basis. If you inherit investments, stocks, a brokerage account, you generally receive what's called a stepped-up cost basis. That means the cost basis resets to the value on the date of death, not what the original owner paid. Here's why that matters. If your parent bought stock, say 30 years ago for $10,000 and it's worth $200,000 today, you wouldn't owe capital gains on that $190,000 gain, as long as you don't wait too long to sell. That can be a significant tax advantage, and it's one that many people don't know about or don't act on quickly enough.
Inherited IRAs are a completely different situation, and the rules changed significantly in recent years. Under the Secure Act and Secure 2.0, most non-spouse beneficiaries were required to withdraw the entire inherited IRA within 10 years. There's no more stretching distributions over your lifetime. And the IRS recently clarified that if the original owner had already started taking required minimum distributions, you may be required to take annual distributions during that 10-year period, not just withdraw everything at the end. So why does this matter? Because those withdrawals are taxable income. If you inherited a $500,000 IRA and you're in your peak earning years, pulling $50,000 out every year could push you into a higher tax bracket. This is where planning matters. Understanding the timing of those withdrawals, which years to take more, which years to take less, can make a meaningful difference in how much of that inheritance you keep.
Let's talk about something that comes up a lot, especially for blended families. An inheritance doesn't always arrive in a vacuum. Sometimes it changes the dynamic between spouses, between siblings, or between stepchildren and biological children. Maybe the inheritance was left to one spouse, but not the other. Maybe siblings were treated differently. Maybe you're remarried and now you have significantly more assets than your spouse, and you're not sure how that should factor into your joint financial plan. These aren't just financial questions, they're relationship questions, and they deserve real conversation, ideally before any major decisions are made. We've seen inheritances strengthen families, and we've seen them create real friction too. The difference is almost always whether people took the time to talk through the implications together, rather than just making decisions independently.
Here's what we suggest if you've recently received an inheritance or expect to in the near future. First, pause. Give yourself 3 to 6 months, even a year, before making any significant decisions. The money will keep. Second, understand what you have. Is it cash, investments, an IRA, real estate, in state, out of state? Each one has different rules and different tax implications. Third, think about how it fits in your existing plan. Does it accelerate your retirement timeline? Does it create a tax planning opportunity? Does it change your estate plan? And fourth, if the amount is significant, have a real planning conversation before you do anything else. Because an inheritance can be one of the most meaningful financial events in your life. And getting it right, taking the time, understanding the rules, making intentional decisions is the best way to honor both the money and the person who left it to you.
Inheritance is an opportunity, but like most opportunities, it's best approached with clarity rather than urgency. Take your time, ask good questions, and make sure the decisions that you make are the ones you'll still be comfortable with in a year from now. That's what thoughtful financial planning looks like.